Hello everyone, AmandaSushii here and welcome to AmandaSushii Speaks, episode 2 with the Apothecary Diaries. We're talking about episodes 6 through 11, and I just need to get this off my chest right now. Lady Lishu is like 14 years old. Hello? What? What the helly? What the heliante? What? What? And she was like 9 or 10 when she was promised to the previous emperor, so like this emperor's dad. That's crazy. That's insane. What? I'm getting used to this world, like with concubines and stuff, but that age took me out, and for her to be one of the 4 top concubine girls, obviously they said she hadn't been touched, whatever, but that was crazy. I had to rewatch that scene like 3 times with English subtitles, and then I was like, you know what? I put it in English, and I was like, am I hearing this right? Is this correct? So I watched that scene like 4 to 5 different times to make sure I understood everything, but that was crazy. Anyway, let's just hop into it, and as a reminder, this podcast is also available in video form on YouTube at AmandaSushii Speaks if you want to see my face because it be reacting. Anyway, episode 6 was the festival where they had like the tasters and Maomao tasted the poison and it was the whole soup fiasco, but we got to meet some other ladies. This is where we meet Lady Aduwa, Lady Lishu, and they're like ladies in waiting, and kind of see that Lady Lishu is basically being bullied by her ladies in waiting. So lovely. Love that for I think she's 10. No, she's 14 now. She's 14 now. That's crazy. Again, I need to lay off that, but it took me out. It took me out, guys. Maomao always takes me out when she's tasting this food and she's supposed to be there for poison. Everyone else is like sweating and afraid, and she's like, "Oh my god, I'm so excited. This is a delicacy. This is delicious. This is amazing." Like, the girl is excited to try it, and obviously she does have like a tolerance against certain poisons. So, yeah, she's very excited. The scene where she's tasting, I believe it was like that fish soup or whatever, and she was just like loving it, and just this, it was a little bit uncomfy, but it was funny watching people's reactions, like the men watching, especially that one that gave her the pin. He was like, "Oh my god, she looks like that." Just shows how much she loves food. Maomao's face be looking like I don't know any way else to phrase it, like she's in ecstasy eating this poison. And Jinshi luckily wasn't there, or I feel like he would have like hit her and no one else could see that expression. But yeah, so she, said the soup was poisoned and ran out of there, and he caught her. I thought that scene was so cute where he was like worried about her, and she was like, "Do you think I could have the rest of the soup?" And he's like, "No." And I just thought that was so funny. I really like their banter. Like I said in the last episode, I love characters like Jinshi where they're very Tamaki-esque. They're very much like the comedic relief, but also they have that serious like side to them as well. We haven't really seen too much of that yet from him, but I know it's there. And let's talk about Jinshi's hairpin. I saw that hairpin, and then Maomao was like, "Oh, that's interesting hairpin," because she thought he got it from somebody, because she thinks that he is almost like a concubine himself. So I think that's really funny that she kind of legitimately thinks that. And so she noticed his hairpin, and I'm gonna jump around because, well, quite frankly, it's my podcast, so I can do what I want. But the hairpin, I think I had said it in the last episode, my first episode of this, that I thought Jinshi and Lady Aduwa were related because of how they looked. And Lady Aduwa also has like the same type of hairpin. So I was like, yeah, they've got to be brother and sister. But if you haven't seen episode 11, this is talking about that. So get off this and come back, because I'm about to spoil something. Episode 11. Okay, I hope you're off, because I did not expect him to be her son. I'm assuming Maomao is correct that in her theory that Lady Aduwa switched the babies because she knew that the Empress's baby would receive better care than her own baby. So yeah, I fully believe Lady Aduwa is Jinshi's mom now based on that. Even though I did originally think he was her brother, I see this as well, sadly, because Aduwa just looks so young, but she's 35, they said, and he's 17. So, hey, 16 and pregnant. Sorry. But I just want to note it. I was correct that I thought Jinshi was kin to the emperor, and I was correct. But it seems more of a secret right now. Like, I guess people don't call Jinshi like the prince or the emperor's son. He's just Master Jinshi. So I just assume no one else knows it, and that's why Maomao had to form this conclusion on her own, and she doesn't even, she's just like, what am I even thinking about, and just kind of went on with something else. So that was how we ended episode 11. I'm excited to kind of get the reveal, and like, does Jinshi know, like, does he know he's the emperor's son? I feel like, I always forget his name, Gaoshin, whatever, his like assistant guy who's always there and super nice, and I am sure he knows, and that he's always protecting him. So I don't know. I think Jinshi knows, because it looks like Jinshi and Lady Aduwa met up the night before she left, and maybe she told him, and like that's why he was crying and hugged Maomao. And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm jumping around. Honestly, this bulk of episodes felt like a crime documentary that had to be solved by an apothecary. So like, I thought this show was going to be very feudal, very like family drama filled, but right now it's more like crime filled with this era of concubines and people like their ladies in waitings and things like that. So it's just a fun mystery show almost. So I'm pleasantly surprised at that. And one thing I wanted to note was that Maomao said that she has a buckwheat allergy, and she said that in the room with Jinshi there, his assistant guy who's always there, Lady Lishu, and Lady Lishu's lady in waiting, the one who's actually nice to her. So those people now know that Maomao has this allergy that actually does affect her. And I think she said, like, they don't call it allergy, but she calls it poison or something, or like toxic to her, I don't know, but I'm just calling it allergy because that's what it is. And I just, like, I'm nervous because I'm like, okay, so, like, is someone going to talk to Lady Lishu, and then she's going to be like, oh yeah, I'm allergic to fish, just like Maomao is allergic to buckwheat. And then they're going to use it against her, and then Jinshi's going to have to save her from buckwheat. Okay, I'm going too far now. As soon as she said that, I'm like, girl, you just let people know your weakness. So I'm nervous. When I saw that scene, I got instantly nervous. Actually, in one of the episodes after that, where it's telling Jinshi, like, if you have to, kill me, please poison me. First of all, I'm like, is this foreshadowing? Like, is she going to do something where he has to kill her? And then I also thought it would have been really funny if he was like, well, I'll just feed you buckwheat noodles then. Because that would have been funny. But no, he actually likes her, so he's not going to say that. But anyway, this hairpin situation was so funny, and Maomao just has so many hairpins, so she can have anyone take her back home, which I wish, like, the ladies in waiting for Lady Gyoko, they're nice to her, they like her. I thought they would have told her, like, oh, that means you can, like, go and visit your family because you have someone to escort you or whatever. Maomao is so resourceful and so funny, and yeah, I like that she's like, hey, you could get a night with the top concubines in this district, or courtiers, or whatever they're called, and I get to go see my dad. She is a resourceful girl for sure. And that misunderstanding with Jinshi was just icing on the cake for me. I think so far the best, like, comedy scene in the show. I loved that scene so much. But let's go back to Maomao visiting her town and all of that stuff. So she's escorted by this guy, and I thought it was funny. He was like, this is the most dignified brothel in all the land, basically. And again, I know it's the world. They're in, and them talking about, like, how young girls aspire to be, the top courtesan, and maybe she could be one for the emperor and stuff like that. It just made me really, really sad hearing that, but it is just this world. But it was very sad hearing that. I do love the fact that Maomao is respected and well loved by the Verdigris brothel owner and all the girls in there. Like, they treat her like family. I guess she's been there for a really long time, and they worry about her, and I think that's so sweet, because it looks like obviously she grew up kind of like having a hard life. And so we see Maomao's dad, and I was just a little bit off-putted by him. My belief is that he's not her real dad. I think that because last episode I said I thought her mom may have been part of the brothel and got killed in like a really weird way, like I don't know, something like the face powder or something got her killed. But now I'm like, I don't know, maybe Maomao is royalty and this man who's her dad took her, and he's like her fake dad, her adoptive dad, or maybe like a protector of some sorts, but not really her dad. And he just had her when she was just like really young and taught her all this stuff, and she just believes that's her dad. You know what I mean? So that's my theory now. And I think Maomao may be some kind of a royalty or something, since I just don't think she's related to him. And he kind of freaked me out. So Maomao, gets there, sees him. She tells him the story, and now that she works in like the palace, and she's going to sleep. And then they have this scene of him where his eyes are like kind of beady, and he looks evil. And I'm like, this guy evil. I think maybe he's going to get something. Maybe, I don't think it's monetary. I don't know what it is. He's just giving me evil vibes right now, okay? I don't trust him. And now, okay, episode 11, another spoiler. Now that we know he was the doctor who delivered Jinshi, he was a doctor who was like, the emperor's doctor. He was high up in the palace, and they kicked him out for the baby dying, but maybe she's like a long lost heiress to another kingdom, and like the long lost daughter of someone, and he took her. I don't know. I'm just theorizing as we go. Also, her dad, he's like a detective. He's so analytical, like that brothel scene with the courtesan and her customer like almost dead with the poison, all that stuff. He analyzed that so fast, figured it out so fast. I'm like, this man may have been more important. Like, was he maybe also like the confidant, like the number one right-hand guy of maybe the prior emperor? And maybe he has like a lot of knowledge. Like, maybe he's higher up than a doctor. Okay, anyway, I don't know what I'm trying to theorize. I'm just trying to say I don't think her dad is who she thinks he is. And yeah, obviously she found that out because now she knows he worked for the palace. But then what does that mean for her mom? So now I'm changing my thoughts on her mom. I think her mom is like a higher up or high-ranking queen of another land, maybe. And Maomao has tendencies to be like a scary person in leadership, like the way she dragged that one girl in one of the episodes last week about the face powder, where she dragged her and lectured her, and yeah, she just has like a scary leadership quality. So maybe Maomao is a heir to a throne, and maybe it's like a more violent throne. I don't know. Anyway, enough with my theories. Back at the brothel and that whole scene that happened, the child in that brothel, she scared me so bad. I hate killer children in any type of media form. Like, she looks scary. But now I understand, like, she just, this happened to her sister. This guy led her sister on, and now he's doing it to the same courtesans. And it's just, I just feel like Maomao theorized, they're all in on it. It was like a brothel effort. And they wanted this guy kind of gone because he just was making life more difficult for them. And it's kind of this theme that goes along with this show so far of, the lower class people, the servants, the courtesans in this district, like, have to do certain things that aren't technically right, technically immoral, but they're trying to protect themselves and each other. And yeah, it's almost like Death Note, like playing God, and she was like, I can do this poison scheme and poison this guy, and then I'll take a little bit of it and it won't be as bad for me, but he would die. But then Maomao was there. So yeah, it's just like an interesting show about the class system. And even with that scene with Maomao telling Jinshi, like, I mean, I'm a lowly taste poison tester, so if I did something wrong, my life is expendable and you would have to kill me. You have no choice. So yeah, and he was like, no, I wouldn't. But she's like, it's not would or wouldn't, it's how. And yeah, it's just like an interesting class discussion for these type of worlds, I guess. I mean, even in the real world, but I will not get into that. Honestly, that plan the courtesan decided on, where she, did the trick with filling two different liquids in the glass and only poured a little bit for herself, and then used the straw to make sure she didn't ingest as much, is very brilliant, to be honest. Like, that was a pretty good plan, and she would have succeeded if it wasn't for Maomao. And I also noticed a theme of like Maomao figuring these type of plans out, where it's the kind of lower class of servant doing something against someone higher up. She won't fully tell the people in charge exactly what she's thinking, because she doesn't want to get that servant in trouble. It's like she empathizes with them and understands why they did it, and there's a few moments where she says, I'm not going to tell him that, I don't want to be the reason why someone gets punished or something like that. So I think like she has a lot of empathy for people trying to protect themselves against people who have more power. And then of course my favorite comedy scene, she gets back there and Jinshi's there and he's upset, and Lady Gyoko is laughing. She loves this so much. She can tell Jinshi likes Maomao, and it was just amazing. It was the best scene ever. It was so good, I had to write it down. She said that she gave that guy, I bestowed a night of blissful dreams for him. I'm dead. I'm dead. Jinshi was like, a whole night? That was just fantastic. I love a miscommunication like that, and the fact that they also immediately addressed it the next episode, where they were like, he found out that that's not actually what happened because Lady Gyoko told them. And yeah, I like that. Like, I like a little misunderstanding when it's immediately figured out. I hate when shows or whatever like drag it out like crazy or never address it. Some animes do stuff like this and they never address it, and I'm like, he needs to know that didn't happen. But yeah, I love that they addressed it immediately, and the fact that she went out and asked another guy and went home with that guy and he's still like never being asked the favor at all is hilarious. And then the next episodes are the old man who died because someone salted his drink and he was ingesting the salt, but he can't taste the salt. And then the woman who drowned herself. And I just like, this is like so mystery. But the old man who was drinking the salt, we saw a guy like do that on purpose right in the beginning, and it was like this light-skinned guy with like blue black hair, and I'm like, is that not important? Am I just like missing something? Because I thought he was like maybe part of the crew that Jinshi is looking for, who did the fireworks and stuff. And now I know like we're talking about Lady Foming, but who is this man, and like why is he not addressed? Or is it just one of those things where, this was just a culprit, maybe he has something against the old guy like Maomao was saying, and it's just like a random guy who's never gonna get caught? Or is he actually important? I don't know. But I just remember that face. Like, they showed the face, they showed like his eyes, like he was like doing like the hate squint, and I just don't know. I'm like, should I just ignore this? Do you guys think I'm crazy? Anyway, do you remember this man at all? I just want to talk about this Lady Foming thing with Lady Adua. And Foming, if you don't remember, is Lady Adua's like the number one lady in waiting, the one who was taking care of her son and fed him honey. And that's why he allegedly passed away, but it's really not him. It was the Empress Dowager's child, and Jinshi was obviously completely fine. I don't know, I got a little confused. So like I said in the last episode, I think I'm just going to continue to do this, where I watch it with the original Japanese and then English subtitles, and then rewatch it again with English dub over it, just so I get the story, because some of them are a little bit confusing to me. So basically, Foming had all this guilt from thinking that she killed the child, and then kept Lady Lishu away, because Lady Lishu, who also can't have fish, also can't have honey. What what in the world? This poor girl. But specifically the not being able to ingest certain fish, and she lives in this. Anyway, I'm going too deep into this. From what I gathered from my rewatches of this, Mao Mao convinced Feng Ming to basically turn herself in for the poisoning of Lady Lishu's soup. She wouldn't have the shame of like the killing the baby part with the honey, but she would turn herself in for punishment for the soup. And I think she got executed for that. And yeah, that's when Lady Adua was leaving, and that's kind of how I left episode 11, with Lady Adua leaving and everyone saying goodbye, and Lady Lishu, you know, reconnecting with her, because Lady Lishu saw her almost as a mother figure, and Lady Adua was definitely seeing her as like a child to be protected because she was so young. And Lady Feng Ming like kept them away from each other because she didn't want her to find out about the honey situation. It was a little bit complicated. I feel like this Apothecary Diaries has a lot of twists and turns in the plot, so it's very interesting. But I do love the female relationships here. It's really good, and I really, the only ones I don't like are, I really want Lady Lishu to. She's so young though, to realize that most of her ladies in waiting are not really doing anything for her greater good. They're just kind of haters. So I hope maybe Mao Mao, or maybe the other lady in waiting who actually seems to, you know, have her best interests at heart, maybe they'll help influence her and teach her, like, hey, these girls, you need to get some new ladies in waiting. They're not genuine people, okay? Also, the scene with Adua at the end and Jinshi, like, no one else thought, oh my god, these people look almost exactly the same. Like, they are so obviously related. Maybe people wouldn't say mother son, but definitely sister brother, definitely something. Like, he definitely looks like, if we're talking in like Naruto terms, like part of her clan. So yeah, I don't really know. I feel like he knows. I think she told him at least that night. And Mao Mao just sitting here being his comfort while he's kind of drunk and sad was low-key kind of cute. I'm sorry if that makes me toxic. Now, here's the thing. Let's say, yes, Lady Adua and Jinshi are mother-son, right? So then that means, did Lady Feng like confess and get executed for nothing? Like, if Jinshi is a child and he grew up happy and healthy, and Lady Adua obviously had to keep this a secret, that she may have switched the babies or something, did she die for not, or like the guilt, like should she not have felt guilt? I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, was this all for nothing? Like, if Adua would have told Feng Ming that he's alive and that's him, the guilt would have been gone, and she would never have felt the urge to block off Lady Lishu from her. They would have had a good relationship. She wouldn't do any of the sketchy stuff she does. So yeah, I was thinking about that. And then also, like, the burn on her arm, they said, like, for contacting people. So is she part of this weird insider plan? I didn't really get too much of what they were saying about that. I just got more of the Lady Adua Feng Min story. I didn't quite get the other plot of who Feng Ming could have been contacting, but she did have the burn that they were looking for, but I don't know who she could have been contacting or what their plan was. I didn't see too much of them talking about that. So yeah, I hope we get more of that in the next few episodes. Let me know what you guys think. Please go ahead and rate this podcast. This is only my second episode. I'm super excited to be talking about stuff like this. And also follow me on TikTok and YouTube at AmandaSushii with 2 eyes. Bye guys!